Good morning, I'm Abhiday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. CPN-UML's Suhang Nemwang victorious in Ilam 2. Nepali Congress's Dambar Kharga defeated by a margin of 5,830 votes. Independent candidate Thegim finishes third, RSP's Milan fourth. Concerns mount regarding the rise in risks of cyber attacks. Cyber attacks witnessed in the systems of security institutions, hospitals, among others. 4 American law enforcement officers killed and 3 others wounded in Charlotte, North Carolina. 1 suspect killed in return fire. And Rafael Nadal reaches the Madrid Open last 16 for the first time since 2022. Women's world number 1 Iga Swiatek and defending champion Aryna Sabalenka also reached the quarterfinals. CPN-UML's Suhang Nemwang has been victorious in the by-election in Ilam Electoral Constituency 2. Suhang has been elected as a member of the House of Representatives, defeating his nearest contender, Dambar Kharga of Nepali Congress, by a margin of 5,830 votes. Suhang Nemwang was victorious, bagging 27,772 votes. His closest contender from Nepali Congress, Dambar Kharga, garnered 21,942 votes. Dambar had also suffered loss to Suhang's father, Subhas Nemwang, by 114 votes in the November 2022 general election. However, Suhang registered a convincing win over Dambar this time by a margin of 5,830 votes. Independent candidate Dekendra Singh Thegim finished third, securing 11,457 votes, while Rashtriya Swatantra Party candidate Milan Limbu came in fourth with 5,050 votes. 69,374 votes were cast in last Saturday's by-election in Ilam. 19 candidates were in the fray in Ilam. The by-election in Ilam 2 was held last Saturday after former Speaker Subhas Nemwang passed away on 13th of September last year. Incidents of cybercrime have been significantly increasing in Nepal. The Nepal Army had set up the Cybersecurity Directorate 4 years ago to strengthen cybersecurity. The government has also been coordinating with various entities in this regard. The incidents of cybercrime disturbing national security have been rising in recent time. Cyber attacks in Nepal's Central Data Center had been reported 2 months ago. This had affected works at the Immigration Department of the Tribhuvan International Airport. This is a representative case of the increasing threat of national security. Meanwhile, the Nepal Army has started expressing concerns on the matter. Cyber attacks that affect a large group of people and pose threat to the national security are being reported. Cyber attack was reported in Chaitra 2079 as per the Nepali calendar around a year ago with unauthorized access to Nepal Army's cyberspace. Police had conducted investigation on the breach and was able to arrest 1 accused. Similar attack in the treatment system of Syed Gangalal Hospital had been reported in the Nepali year 2078. Likewise, incidents of theft by attacking banking systems are also being reported. Various sectors, including systems at hospitals, immigration and aviation, security bodies, and telecommunications, are at high risk of cyber attacks. In some cases, ransom was demanded following cyber attacks. The Nepal police had filed 212 cases of cybercrime since mid-February this year. However, the government has been unable to prevent such incidents and increase investment to control cybercrime. The Constitution of Nepal has ensured the right to free education. As per this provision, the government has announced free education up to the secondary level. However, community schools have been collecting admission and tuition fees from students. Article 31 of the Constitution of Nepal has ensured free education for grades between 1 and 8 in the secondary level and up to grade 12 in the higher secondary level. However, 4.5 million students of majority of the 28,000 community schools across the country have been compelled to pay fees on various pretexts. Schools have collected admission fees from students at the beginning of this academic year, which is against the government provision. Schools have been collecting such fees, citing lack of internal source, need to employ private teachers, and need to pay water and electricity bills. Popular community schools have been found collecting between 4,000 and 10,000 rupees from students in the name of admission and exam fees. Meanwhile, the regulatory body has remained indifferent in this regard, while parents have been bearing the brunt. The Ministry of Education has said that community schools must not collect such fees from students by going against the provision. Spokesperson for the Education Ministry, Keshav Prasad Dahal, has hinted towards compelling schools to return those amounts. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces why government schools have been collecting fees from students, even though the authority had announced it would be free. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
पर्याप्त मात्रामा शिक्षकहरूको व्यवस्था गर्न नसकेका कारणले लिएको हो जस्तो लाग्छ।
विद्यालय व्यवस्थापन गर्नका लागि सरकारले पर्याप्त बजेट नपठाएकोले त्यही भएर विद्यार्थीसँग शुल्क लिएको हो।
स्कुलले चाहिँ अब केही सृजनात्मक कामको लागि भनेर पनि लिएको हामीले थाहा पाइरहेका छौं।
शिक्षकहरू पनि एक्स्ट्रा राखिरहेको हुन्छ, अब त्यसलाई पनि तलब खुवाउनु पर्यो, त्यो कारणले नै विद्यालयले शुल्क उठाइरहेको छ।
सरकारले नलिने भनेको छ गरे नि भन्न त अब किन हामी दुखीजनले क्याइ गर्ने थाहा पाइनु छैन, अनि त्यहाँ उनलाई आफ्नो कमाइ होला भनेर लिने हुन् क्या। यो
सरकारले निशुल्क भनिसकेपछि यसलाई कहाँबाट कुन स्रोतबाट पूर्ति गर्नुपर्ने हो, विद्यालयले पूर्ति गरेर यो निमुखा गरिब हाम्रा अभिभावकहरूलाई यो आर्थिक भारको चपेटामा नपार्दाखेरि राम्रो हुन्छ।
सरकारले नै भने पनि भर्ना फी चाहिँ लिनु उत्तमै हो जस्तो लाग्छ।
सरकारले अनुगमन नगरिदिएर अभिभावकहरू पीडित भएका छन्।
The government had organized the third investment summit with an aim to increase foreign investment in the country by showcasing 154 projects. However, commitments on investments did not come as expected by the government. Only 3 investment agreements were signed at this investment summit. At the investment summit that had 154 projects in showcase, there were around 2,500 participants, including around 800 foreign investors. 3 investment agreements were signed during the two-day summit. An agreement signed between Nepali company BLC Group and Indian company Yotta Data Services on the first day of the 2-day summit on Sunday to set up and operate a data center at an investment of 3 billion rupees. Likewise, an agreement was also signed between Expert Group Australia and Rara Holdings to build Rara Luxurious Hotel on 80 ropenis of land at an investment of 1.5 billion rupees. Another agreement was signed between Nepal's Sakha Group and Hong Kong's Anfoman Group and Boa Hotel to build a wellness hotel in Gorusinghe of Kapilvastu at an investment of 1.84 billion rupees. Likewise, the Federation of Nepalese Chambers of Commerce and Industries, FNCCI, and the National Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Malaysia, also signed an agreement to promote trade and investment in Nepal. An agreement was also signed between World Association of PPP Units and Professionals, WAPP, and Nepal Association of PPP Professionals of Practitioners, NAPP, to promote the public-private partnership in Nepal. Likewise, agreements were also reached between Nepal Industry Trade Association and China Ganggaon Singalong Lighting Products, as well as between Nepal Industry Trade Association and Indian Industries Association. Meanwhile, experts have said that the government failed to rope in expected number of investments due to inadequate homework. It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. What do you think CPN Unified Socialist Senator Madhav Kumar Nepal meant when he said others cannot bear him becoming Prime Minister? Your options are A, indication of conflict within alliance, B, agitation while being weak, and C, anger against Oli. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the international updates. 4 law enforcement officers were killed and another 3 others were shot and wounded in Charlotte, North Carolina, and a suspect was found dead yesterday. Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department Chief Johnny Jennings said at a press conference that the 4 officers who were killed were part of a U.S. Marshals task force comprised of officers from multiple agencies. The officers who were killed were attempting to serve a warrant for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. They arrived at a residence where the suspect was located and he began firing on the officers. They returned fire and the suspect was killed in the front yard. The officers then took gunfire from inside of the house. After a tense standoff, a SWAT team cleared the house and took 2 people who were inside into custody. Jennings said it is believed at least one of them had fired on the officers. The U.S. and UK have proposed Hamas for a 40-day ceasefire in exchange for the release of captives from Gaza. Speaking at the World Economic Forum, the UK Foreign Minister David Cameron said the potential deal would include a 40-day ceasefire in exchange for the release of captives from Gaza. Earlier, the U.S. Secretary of State claimed that the Israeli proposal was an extraordinary generous offer, while Egypt's foreign minister said he was hopeful about a new proposal. At the same time, Hamas has repeatedly said it will not accept a deal that does not include a permanent ceasefire and a complete withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza, which have been major sticking points in negotiations. Meanwhile, plumes of smoke rose over the Gaza Strip yesterday as Israeli airstrikes targeted northern Gaza. Health officials said that in the north of the Gaza Strip, Israeli warplanes struck 2 houses, killing at least 4 people and wounding several others. The International Criminal Court, which is investigating the country's operations in Gaza and the occupied West Bank, and could issue warrants for the arrest of Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and other Israeli leaders, condemned the Israeli attack over Gaza. Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu says nobody will stop Israel's military actions, not even the International Criminal Court. 25 people were killed and 13 others injured in a bus crash in the Andean mountains of northern Peru yesterday. The bus was heading to the town of Sorochuco day before yesterday when it overturned and crashed down a slope into the river. Local media outlets reported that the bus was traveling from the nearby town of Selendin. 3 days of mourning was announced in a statement shared by the local government. Accidents are relatively common along Peru's precarious roads, with around 24 people dying in a crash in September and at least 24 dying when a bus plunged off a cliff in January 2023. The White House yesterday said that it was taking very seriously reports from the Washington Post on an alleged assassination plot by Indian officials on U.S. During yesterday's briefing, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the Department of Justice is investigating the matter. The Washington Post yesterday reported that an officer in India's intelligence service was directly involved in a foiled plan to assassinate a U.S. citizen and one of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's most vocal critics in the United States, and the separate shooting death of a Sikh activist last June in Canada. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.